Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, May 5th, 2023. We've got a ton of stuff going on. MLB, a little bit of NFL, all of European soccer is falling apart in front of our eyes. And we've also got a new segment for you. At the end of the show, we're going to debut Top 3 Bottom 3. And we'll get into explaining the actual premise of that segment when we get there. But Luke, how are we feeling? I think we've had a very eventful last week in sports.
Yeah, we have. It was fun getting to see the draft picks roll in over the weekend after our Thursday episode, and got a lot of soccer news too. Pretty excited to go over some of that stuff. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. So let's go ahead and get it started. MLB recap and a little bit of weekend preview. Anything that's happened this week that you want to talk about?
Sure. And I guess this isn't really a week thing, but I'm just so pissed off, Grayson, that I would love to talk about how fucked my baseball team is with injuries. That being the New York
Yeah.
Yankees, of course. Josh Donaldson won't be back until May 8th. Giancarlo Stanton, May 30th. I think Aaron Judge is also May 8th. Luis Severino, once again, he's hurt. Nothing surprising there, really.
Yeah.
He won't be back until May 21st. Loizaga, one of my favorite pitchers. He absolutely can bring the heat, but he won't be bringing the heat until August 1st, Grayson.
Phew,
Um,
that's tough.
Luis Hill is on here too. I mean, Harrison Bader, like some other guys will be back, I think, like tomorrow. It's just guys that have been getting hurt. And Yankees, are above 500, but last in that division. It's just not looking good anymore.
Well, it's too bad for you because my team's rolling.
Yeah, they are. I have Acuna on this list too.
Yeah, he's been
He
killing. He's actually
actually.
batting as we speak.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes.
he leads the NL in batting war and fielding war.
So
I
he
found
just
that stat out too.
just got himself another hit, so and an RBI.
There you go. So what I read today is basically if Matt Chapman is your AL MVP, which he probably is right now, Ronald Acuna is by far your NL MVP.
Oh yeah,
Right
like
now. Yeah.
certainly. He's been absolutely lighting it up and he just continues to do so. Like w- a lot of these Braves players have been kind of up and down, but the one constant throughout this entire season so far has been Ronald Acuna, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. Another guy
Oh,
that I
stolen
have on
base for
here.
Ronald Acuna, and he advanced to third on a throwing error.
Oh, wow. Um,
He knows we're
another
talking
guy.
about him.
Exactly. Another guy that I wanted to talk about is unfortunately this rookie on the Red Sox who's 29 years old, and that is Masataka Yoshida. Have
Yep.
you been hearing about this guy at all?
Yeah. This is his first year not in Japan, and it was kind of a big deal when he came over, but a lot of people said like if he's not going to be hot when it first starts, then does he really have a spot here? So I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Yeah, he kind of doing some research on him. He had a pretty like iffy start to his rookie season here at the age of 29, which is just so funny to me. But it happens in baseball all the time, especially with your Japanese players. But his last 7 games, and honestly, really his last 2 weeks, in his last 7, I have 23 at bats, 9 hits, and only 1 strikeout. He's batting like a 301 average right now. He looks really, really good for Boston.
Yeah, he's been looking very good, and Boston really needs it. I think they're going into a series this weekend um, with Toronto, I believe. I could be wrong.
I'll check you.
No, they're going into a series this weekend with the Phillies, and I think they're just
Yes.
coming off of a Toronto series. But yeah, the Red Sox need as much help as they can get because if they can create some separation with the Yankees, like look, all of the teams in the AL East have played very good. They're all still above 500 as of right now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But the Red Sox really need to get it going because it's going to be hard to catch up to, the Blue Jays, Orioles, and the Rays when the Rays and Orioles are both already at 20 plus wins and the Blue Jays are pretty damn close.
Yeah. And I know I've been kind of talking a lot, but I actually want to go back to the Yankees injuries because there was one player, one obvious player that was on my list, but I still kind of glanced over it. Where is Carlos Rondon? Actually, who is Carlos Rondon? I don't even know who he is anymore. I just know that the Yankees are paying him a lot of money. And I think I saw, maybe it was a couple days ago, it even could have been a week ago. I think, like, with the injury in his back, it got like re-aggravated during rehab or whatever he was doing to like nurture it, and it like set him back even further. And it's just like, man, if you're a Yankees fan, it's so unfortunate. We're above 500, but the team is a hospital, and Carlos Rondon is like KIA.
Yeah, like imagine how good your rotation would look right now if you guys actually had Carlos Rodon and Frankie Montas, who's been out this whole season and I think will be out the entire season.
Yeah, and a Garrett Cole who looks worthy for pinstripes finally.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just been absolutely brutal. But I've been talking a lot. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about?
I've got plenty of stuff. So I
Let's
want to
hear it.
start it off with Wander Franco because he's making the world mad.
Oh man.
All of the young guys love to do this. And look, I fucking love it. Look, you can do whatever the hell you want as long as you're not making mistakes. And Wander's not making mistakes. If you didn't see it, fields a ground ball from Brian Reynolds against the Pirates. Um, easy infield play. Wander spins the ball up in the air after he fields it, grabs it out of the air, throws out Brian Reynolds at first, like he's practicing. And for some reason, people just don't think that's right. It's an unwritten rule, whatever. Well, guess what? Wander Franco just continues to back up all of his play because he hits a home run later in the game. Like, Wander Franco can do whatever he wants as long as he isn't making mistakes.
This year it seems like, I know he's always been good, and he's always kind of had like that sort of flashy fielding element to him, but this year, man, he has just absolutely exploded onto the scene. I think he's very entertaining personally.
Yeah. And look, if you're one of the old people that's all bent out of shape about unwritten rules, how would you like it if we just made people stop fighting? Because that's the only thing of unwritten rules that I care for. Is if you throw at my guy's throwing at yours, and then we're gonna fight. That's the
Yeah,
only unwritten rule that I give a shit about. Everything else,
exactly.
free game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a boomer, just hit it over Wander Franco. Don't ground out to him.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah. If you're really this mad, you should probably just shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
But let's talk some record breaking news. A
Oh,
couple of them actually in a row here that I've got. So Shohei Ohtani has joined Babe Ruth as the only other player to record 500 plus career Ks as a pitcher and 100 plus home runs as a hitter.
wow. He's joining a list that's taken 100 years for someone else to make it a part of, basically.
Yeah, and it just continues to show how crazy it is that Shohei Ohtani exists in this world.
Yeah, it really is. That's actually, like, to me, that's kind of what I start to look at now when it comes to like record breakers. I always see of like how long the record stood. 'Cause
Yeah.
to me, that makes it so much more impressive.
Yeah, I've got a few more of these. So this one's crazy. So the Royals beat the Orioles on Wednesday night, and nothing crazy in this game really happened. Like a pretty normal night. A 6-0 win for the Royals, a struggling Royals team at that. To beat the Orioles 6-0 is great, but the biggest thing here is that the Royals batters did not strike out or draw a walk at all in this game.
Whoa,
And that's the first time that a winning team has done this since the Mets beat the Phillies on September 12th, 2009.
solid. That's a solid record to break there.
Yeah, like imagine, like literally every single outcome is in play.
Yeah, that must have been a fun defensive game to watch.
Oh yeah. And they were putting up numbers, at least the Royals were.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point.
So that one was fun. A little more history because I'm a big fan of this one. Colin Holderman of the Pittsburgh Pirates threw the 113th immaculate inning in MLB history against the Rays on Thursday, which is today.
Okay, 113th.
Yes.
Wow. An
Immaculate.
immaculate inning is a 9 pitch, 3 strikeouts, right?
Yes, yeah, 9 pitch, 3 strikeout inning.
Wow, 113 players to do it. And like I guarantee you some of the players on those lists, like they don't even have to be like a star. It could have been just some like middle reliever that came in and just ended up, destroying everybody he saw.
Yeah, and I think, now that I'm thinking about this, eh, we kind of need to really be looking out for what an immaculate inning is because it's not just 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts anymore because of pitch clock violations. So it's
Oh
got to
yeah.
be 9 or less strikes in 9 or less pitches, 3 strikeouts.
Wow. Interesting. So I guess like in a way, like it's actually easier
Yeah,
to get better.
theoretically. Yeah, because like technically you could have an immaculate inning and not throw a pitch.
Yeah. Now you could.
Which I doubt that's going to happen, but it could happen.
That had to be some serious form of protest if the batters just went out there and intentionally got those strikes.
Yeah, that would be crazy. But one more little piece of history. The Rays today reached 20 games over 500 with their 26-6 record. That's the earliest that a team has reached 20 games over 500 in a season since 1984.
Thing with the Braves?
The Rays.
The Rays. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess like in baseball, teams can definitely get as hot as the Rays were at the start of the season, but I guess it's very rare to see it like right out of the gate. So that actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's just like 26-6 is crazy.
That's a ridiculous record to have. I mean, you literally could not have started your season better. And
Yeah.
I'll even take it back at this point. It actually might be legit 26-6. I just thought, and I'm sure you know this more than me, Grayson, but like, baseball teams can get hot. Like it happens all the time. Happens to the bad teams, happens to the good teams. And at first I was kind of thinking that the Rays were just getting lucky. Nah, they got a pretty good team.
Yeah, like this lineup is just undeniably very good. The rotation has been very, very good. Like Zach Eflin went out today and was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm a strikeout pitcher. Threw 7 innings, only gave up 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts in 80 pitches.
My God.
Like they you just can't stop them. And then in their lineup, like Wander Franco just now dipping under 300, but going into this game, Wander Franco, Josh Lowe, Randy Arozarena, and Yandy Diaz were all batting over 300. And Lowe, Arozarena, and Yandy Diaz are still above 325, all of them.
Holy cow.
Some serious
Yeah.
shit there, man.
Someone's got to stop them.
Yeah. Randy Arozarena, a surprising thing here. This is one of the first times I've seen it where he had at least one of each stat on the box score. So he had 3 at bats, 1 run, 1 hit, 1 RBI, 1 home run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Don't
He's
see that
covering the
often.
spread there.
Yeah. But yeah, this Rays team is just crazy. And I think at this point, I can't question it anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody can. One more baseball news that I wanted to talk about is the Minnesota Twins. What is going on over there? Kind of like, and I know you've kind of always seen them as a joke. And I'm, of course, as a
Yes.
Yankees fan, I've always seen the Twins as a joke. But they shit on the Yankees this year. Joey Gallo has crawled out of the cave to play well for this team in Minneapolis. Which is honestly, it's been good to see. I like seeing Joey Gallo play well. But he's doing his typical 213 batting average, but his slugging percentage is really good. I still really don't understand how that even makes sense. But like
He just hits a
Aaron
lot of home
Buxton,
runs and doubles.
okay, yeah. Um, Aaron Buxton, I didn't realize how good of a hitter he was.
Yeah, he always has been. It's just that he can't stay on the field.
Yeah, and it really sucks that we can't see him playing center field because I think I think he has had potential to be like Kiermaier level, but like you said, he can't stay on the field. Um, Yeah, and all these guys are looking better than Carlos Correa, who's kind of been slow this year. And of course, I don't think it's gonna, I don't think he's gonna stay playing slow. But it's just kind of funny that Carlos Correa is not really contributing to all this success that they're having.
Yeah, it's a big problem when Carlos Correa and Joey Gallo have the same batting average, and Joey Gallo actually has a higher on base percentage.
Oh wow!
Like that is a real issue for Carlos Correa. I will say the Twins and White Sox are in the bottom of the 10th right now. So interesting stuff going on here.
Yeah,
But
that's a good game.
yeah. And I do want to bring up the Rays sweeping the Pirates because these were the going into the series, number one team in the AL versus the number one team in the NL. Obviously, the the Rays had got the best of them, but still, like a pretty hard fought series. A 3-2 win for the Rays today. Wednesday, 8-1 victory, pretty dominant with Shane McClanahan on the mound, and then Tuesday night a 4-1 win, but the Pirates just still look pretty good in my eyes. I know this was a tough series for them, but I really think that they have a good thing going, primarily based on youth, and that's why I think they're a little bit more of like a volatile team than the Rays, because the Rays have like veteran talent and guys that have been up for a few years now, whereas the Pirates are kind of riding off of very good youth and a few veteran guys.
Yeah, the youth teams are always kind of fun to watch, I think, and yeah, it's cool to see the Pirates. Out of every team that I guess could have been a surprising team, it's cool to see them be the ones that are the surprising team this year. I think.
Yeah, definitely. But with the Pirates getting swept and the rest of the NL Central struggling, the NL Central has lost its last 17 games.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
they
like
need to play against each other. Get those stats up.
yeah, they are really struggling. So the Cardinals have lost 6 straight, which is absolutely insane. They're 10-22. The Reds have lost 1. The Cubs have lost 3. Milwaukee's lost 3, and Pittsburgh has lost 4 in a row, which is 17 losses.
Wow. Um, Another thing that I've kind of been keeping up with, I don't have any notes on this or don't even have any stats, but have you been watching any of Trevor Bauer's games in Japan, like his vlogs?
I haven't watched any in like the last week or 2 weeks, but I did see the one I think when he made his debut.
Yeah. Okay. They've actually been pretty interesting, and
Yes.
I know his the closer on the Bay Stars is already bitching at Bauer for that sword celebration, saying that it's like disrespectful.
Like, dude, just let him be.
Exactly. Like he's an American. Like just give him his
Just
give him a break.
understand
And
that he's a bigot.
yeah, exactly. And
There's a reason he's playing in Japan right now, and it's not because
there
he's
is
a
a
good
reason.
person.
Exactly. But it was cool though that the Bay Stars they actually gave him gloves with like a sword on it, which I thought
That's
was
awesome.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I just thought that would be cool to mention. Is it's been cool to keep up with how different like the Japanese baseball league is, and I feel like Bauer's vlogs are doing a great job of honestly bringing like Japanese baseball to more of like more light.
Yeah, for
Kind of like
sure.
how Shohei's doing. So it's been really cool.
All right, Luke. Any series this weekend that you want to kind of preview?
Well, of course, hang on, let me get back to the schedule. Uh, let's see here. I'm on May 1st. The Yankees and Rays for
Yep.
sure. I want to see how good my team can pair up against the best team in the division. Probably not too well with how things are going right now, but hey, you never know.
Yeah. My biggest one this weekend is my team. Orioles, Braves in Atlanta. I really hope the Braves can just absolutely beat up on them.
Oh yeah. Um, Twins Guardians should be good. The Braves and Orioles is going to be. I think that'll be an awesome game.
Yeah, we've got Max Fried
Awesome series.
versus Dean Creamer on Friday.
Wow. Um, Houston and Seattle always seems to be a good game, especially like in today's
Yeah.
baseball.
Toronto versus Pittsburgh is actually a good matchup.
Yeah. It is actually a good matchup. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny to say that.
Padres Dodgers, always going to be a fun series between those two teams, especially with like Tatis's return. We got Clayton Kershaw on the mound on Friday. Um,
Yep.
that's going to be a great series this weekend. A lot of good baseball this weekend. Brewers Giants,
Yeah.
one not to look past either.
Dude, how crazy is it? I'm also kind of looking at the Rangers Angels series because,
Yeah.
like, how crazy is it? The fact that, like, DeGrom just got hurt for the Rangers and, like, it may not even matter with how good they're playing.
Yeah, dude, this series this weekend is for is kind of battling out for the top of their division because the Astros are sitting in third right now because the Angels have won 4 straight and are now 18 and 14, just one game behind Texas.
Oh, that's going to be a really good one then.
Yeah, and then a battle between like the 2 worst records in the MLB as well this weekend, the Athletics and Royals. Uh, what's crazy is how much better I'm willing to say the Royals are.
Dude, I could probably count on my hand how many people are going to be there.
There's tickets as low as $10 according to ESPN. But then again, at Busch Stadium, there's tickets as low as $3, so there's no telling. But
Dude, what are you doing this weekend? Let's fucking go see a baseball game.
yeah,
$10?
yeah, $3. All we got $3. We can go watch Tigers Cardinals on Friday, and all we have to do is drive up to St. Louis. It's probably our shortest drive for the best deal.
Yeah.
I guess we could go to Tampa. $9.
That's not that bad.
I don't want to watch a game at the Trop though.
No?
Nah.
I feel like it'd be cool to at least go one time.
I've seen it from the outside. Nothing cool.
Really?
Yeah, I've driven past it a few times.
Does it
It's
look
literally like
a
on its
Walmart
own
warehouse?
kind of, but it's like on its own island.
That's interesting.
It fucking blows. But regardless, we've got a ton of great baseball this weekend, and that's a good summer activity.
Yeah. Oh shit, you were gonna lead into it.
No.
Okay,
We're doing that
good.
later, but I will say baseball games, great summer activity.
Sure. And one last thing, I actually just realized that tomorrow's game with the Dodgers and Padres is actually going to be Kershaw versus Musgrove.
Yeah.
So that'll be awesome.
Yeah, really good pitching matchups from a lot of the matchups we've been talking about. Christian Javier versus Luis Castillo and Astros Mariners. In Red Sox Phillies, we have Chris Sale versus Zach Wheeler.
Just about to mention that one.
Who else? Let's see. Chris Bassett versus Rich Hill. That's not very good. But Lance Lynn versus Hunter Green in White Sox Reds. That's a great matchup as well. So, a lot of great pitching matchups as well. So, definitely a great weekend for baseball. And I think everybody should be excited. But speaking of weeks, it's time for my MLB Team of the Week. On Wednesday, me and Colin did our teams of the month. But now we have the Team of the Week here. So, a very different list, I have to say. So I'll start out in the outfield. Luke Raley of the Tampa Bay Rays in the outfield. Kid has just been stellar. A 1571 OPS over this past week. Easily one of the best hitters in the AL this week. And a barrel percentage of 44.4%. Crazy. 3 home runs. What's up?
I was just gonna ask with the barrel percentage, is that just like contact on the ball?
So barrels, I'm gonna pull up like the actual like definition so I don't mess this up. So yeah, a barrel is when a batted ball has an exit velocity of at least 98%, and it's at a launch angle between 26 and 30 degrees.
That is such a specific stat.
Yeah, but that is like the optimal home run or like power hitting spot.
Okay.
So Luke Raley, like nobody else on this list is over 14.3%. Luke Raley at 44%. Crazy. He's got 2 doubles this week, 3 homers, 4 runs, 7 RBIs. He is striking out quite a bit, 37.5% strikeout rate. He hasn't even walked this week, but doesn't matter. Batting average on balls in play, 500. So not only is he hitting them over the fence, but on his balls in play, he's reaching. So I like he's the only guy in this team of the week with over an 867 or an 885 slugging. His slugging is an 1133.
Wow.
He has been absolutely ridiculous this week. But let's move to the next guy in the outfield, Mr. Juan Soto of the San Diego Padres. Just doing his thing, getting on base. It's what he does best. Only a 360 average this week, but on base at 529 and an OPS of 1169. Fantastic stuff, of course, from Juan Soto, as always. The walk percentage right now, higher than his K percentage this past week. 26.5% walk percentage, 20.6% K percentage. He walked 9 times last week while still picking up 3 runs, 8 RBIs, 1 home run, and 4 doubles.
Only 4 strikeouts in his last 7 days, too.
Yeah, he's absolutely killing it. And that's in 34 plate appearances.
So with Juan Soto, and this is just kind of like, me keeping up with him for like the past like 2 years now, is
Yeah.
he pretty much like what Joey Gallo should be? Because they seem like kind of similar players, at least offensively.
I think that Juan Soto, I wouldn't say their offense is that similar. Juan Soto's not really a power hitter. He is a contact hitter that has the ability to hit home runs. And Juan Soto is a plate discipline guy. Joey Gallo just isn't. That's never been his game. So
Okay.
I wouldn't compare them as much. I think trying to think of like Joey Gallo should be Giancarlo Stanton, and he's just not.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I think that's a better representation of him.
All right.
But my next outfielder, Brian Reynolds, another guy who's just lighting it up, and so is his team. The Pittsburgh Pirates doing great. Obviously got swept, but still, he's keeping it up for his team. In 31 plate appearances this week, 6 doubles, 4 runs, 5 RBIs. He stole 2 bases, walked 4 times, only struck out at a 9.7% strikeout rate, 440 average, 680 slugging, 1196 OPS. Fantastic week for Brian Reynolds.
Yeah. No home runs, but I mean, like, only 3 strikeouts in 7 days is not bad at all. And I mean,
Oh, yeah.
especially in like 21 at bats too, pretty good.
Yeah, man, they're absolutely lighting it up over there in Pittsburgh. But let's move to the infield. At first base, I've got Christian Walker, and this one was a tough choice. I was kind of stuck between Christian Walker and CJ Cron of the Rockies, but landed on Diamondbacks first baseman Christian Walker because of 4 home runs and 10 RBIs in this past week. Goes along with his 7 runs. He's batting 385, OPS at 1313, and he's not even really barreling up the ball. He's just making good contact. Only a 4.5% barrel rate, but when you compare that with the home runs that he has hit, it's kind of crazy. He's leading. He led this past week in home runs with only 4.
Yeah. Hit 2 on Wednesday against the Rangers with 5 RBI too.
Yeah, absolutely killed it this week for Christian Walker. It's second base. I've got his teammate, Ketel Marte. He's been killing it as well. Though the average isn't quite there at 267, he hit 3 bombs, scored 4 runs, had 6 RBIs, walked 4 times, and his on-base percentage at 409. But the big thing here is that he might have an average of 267, but the slugging an 867. So he's absolutely killing it when it comes to extra base hits, and had a fantastic week.
Yeah, was this series his first No, no, okay. I was starting to think that maybe this was his first games this season, but it's not. I just read like the stats wrong.
Gotcha. And
He's on a little
then,
streak right now though.
yeah,
He's got 2 home runs in his last 2.
he's killing it. And then at third base, I've got Nick Senzel of the Cincinnati Reds. Senzel had a fantastic week. A 423 average, 483 on base, OPS at 1290, K percentage, the lowest of the list at 6.9%, and a walk rate of 10.3. had 3 home runs this week, 7 RBIs, scored 8 runs, walked 3 times, picked up a stolen base as well. Another fantastic week for a Reds player, which is kind of surprising. I've had Reds players littered throughout these teams of the week.
I was about to say, and he plays the White Sox, so he's definitely he's definitely in the books for probably another pretty good series.
Let's hope so. And then at shortstop to round out my infield, Bo Bichette of the nope, not Tampa Bay, Toronto Blue Jays. He just continues to play very well, though he's being outshined by Matt Chapman. He definitely had the better week here, and he's striking out a little bit too much, 21.9% strikeout rate, but it seems like the shortstops this season have not been very good. Just around the league, I don't know what it is, but like Bo Bichette, only guy on this list with the WRC plus under 200. That's weighted runs created plus, which is, I think I've explained this to you, but plus means it's averaged at 500. And then if you do good, it's over. If you do bad, it's under. But still had a great week, though. 3 home runs, 7 runs, 9 RBIs, picked up a stolen base. A pretty solid week. Lots of singles for Bo Bichette with 7.
Yeah, just sucks that his team is getting kind of murdered by the Red Sox, at least in this series. I mean, there've been some relatively close games, but they haven't won one yet. So hopefully they can get the win tonight, slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, and then at catcher, I've got my only brave list, Sean Murphy. Dude's been absolutely killing it, and the biggest thing here was the 2 3-run home runs from him in the Mets series in the same game of the first game of the doubleheader. Absolutely crazy. That accounted for both of his home runs this week and 6 of his 7 RBIs, but scored 5 runs as well. He walked 5 times. He's continued this success into this week. Batting .333, on base at 500, OPS at 1119. I love what I've seen from Sean Murphy with the Braves so far.
Dude, this is all that freaking my roommate Logan talks about. He just every day, he's always like, Sean Murphy is killing this team. Sean Murphy is doing this. And I'm just, Braves are just loaded. There's too much depth. Y'all need to have like a draft to just pick apart your team.
Yeah, an expansion draft, and we just have to shell out all of our players. But let's talk DH, and then we'll get into the pitching. Who else but Shohei Ohtani, the record breaker himself? Fantastic fucking week. Oh my God, dude. I'm just going to go straight across the line here. 28 plate appearances. He had eight singles, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, scored 5 runs, stole 2 bases, walked once, average at 481, on base at 500, slugging 852, OPS 1352. Like, holy shit, has Shohei Ohtani just been lighting it up?
Damn. So I got a like a hypothetical Shohei question for you, Grayson. He's 28 right now.
Yep.
In 10 years, at 38 years old, what will Shohei Ohtani even look like? You think he'll be batting, only pitching? I mean, you think he'll still be good?
I have a feeling he'll stop pitching at like 35.
That'll just be to, just because he's doing too much at that age.
Yeah. I think that with pitchers, like a pitcher like Shohei who throws really hard and, is a starter, so he's going to be there, every 5 days, throwing very hard, going deep into games. It's hard to hold that up for a long time. And since he's already been playing professionally for so long prior to him entering the MLB, and like he's already had a Tommy John surgery since he came to America, like it's going to shorten his career pitching wise a little bit. But, elite hitters are elite hitters. And, so long as he's hitting bombs, he's got a place in a lineup.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's talk pitching. There was a couple options I could have gone with when it came to starting pitching this week, but I opted for Nathan Eovaldi of the Texas Rangers because in his one start this week, picked up the win and also picked up the complete game shutout. 9 innings pitched, 3 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, and just absolutely killed it. Just across the board, a .333 whip, fantastic strikeouts per 9, of course, 8, but a fantastic week for Nathan Eovaldi, a guy who has kind of gotten passed around a little bit since the start of his career, and he's always showed good stuff and then doesn't hold it up for long enough. But fantastic week for
Yeah, on my birthday, he pitched a complete game against the Yankees, so that was a good birthday present from Evaldi.
him. All right, and then my reliever slash closing pitcher of the week. Kind of a surprise. I hadn't really heard much about this guy, but Carlos Estevez of the Los Angeles Angels. He pitched in 3 games this week, 4 innings pitched, picked up 3 saves. He only gave up 1 hit, didn't walk a batter, didn't give up a run, 8 strikeouts, only faced 13 batters.
My God. Dang. And he this guy is 6'6", 277.
Yeah, big old motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that rounds out the team of the week. Any guys you think I might have missed?
Um, it's a good question. I don't I don't really think so.
All right. I'm happy to
No.
hear that. So, anything else for the MLB before we talk a little NFL?
I'm ready to jump into the football, man.
All right. Well, Aaron Rodgers has made his arrival in New York very well known. That's an understatement. So we'll start off. He brought in his boy Randall Cobb. We all saw this coming, especially after Lazard had already, kind of gotten there before Rodgers. We knew Randall Cobb was coming too as a free agent. And interesting stats here for Randall Cobb. Rodgers has thrown 534 completions to Randall Cobb, including the playoffs, second most of any player in Rodgers' career behind Davante Adams at 687.
Wow, he is still like 150 behind Devontae Adams. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. And an even crazier thing with the addition of Randall Cobb and Allen Lazard in the offseason, the Jets wide receivers, which they only have 8 on their roster, have a combined 708 career receptions as Packers. And the Packers wide receivers, which there's 10 of, have a combined 88 career receptions as Packers.
Wow, that's funny.
Which it's just, part of the game. But with Lazard and Randall Cobb jumping over, I think Rodgers has a pretty good thing going.
Definitely. I mean, I still really don't know what to expect though, because I mean, it is an older Aaron Rodgers, and he was showing some age last year, but like offensively, the Jets have just everything better than the Packers. So I wonder if we'll see a better Aaron Rodgers than last year, this year with the Jets.
Dude, it looks like he's just happy. Like he looks like a completely different person than we saw last year. It's like as soon as he landed in New York, he had a haircut, he shaved, like he looks younger, he looks so happy, like the smile will not come off his face. And I think a big part of that is just the guys that he's surrounded himself with.
Yeah, or the darkness. Is it the
True.
Jets or the darkness, Grace?
I'm going to attribute it to the Jets for now. But, if things start going AWOL and he ends up, taking 2 weeks off and they say he hurt himself and then somebody finds him in a dark corner, don't be surprised.
Yeah, do not be surprised at all.
But Rodgers was asked about Garrett Wilson, said he's a talented guy. I threw him a pass today and just kind of turned and was like, wow. And then Rodgers compared Wilson's ability to get in and out of breaks to Davante Adams.
That's definitely high praise.
Certainly, especially for 2 guys that are very different styles and builds of wide receivers.
I was gonna say the same thing. It was kind of like it was actually kind of shocking to hear Rodgers compare Garrett Wilson to Devonte Adams out of all people, because I don't really think that they're similar. But granted, he did just say the ability to get in and out of breaks. He didn't say like totally, but like still, that is a compliment and a half to receive from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but I guess it's not enough because Garrett Wilson said that he's talked to Rodgers in the past couple of days about why he hasn't been able to get one of these tickets to the games that Rodgers has been attending. He's been at like every single New York sports game that's happened over the past week, going with Allen Lazard, Sauce Gardner, Brees Hall, and a couple of other people as well.
Yeah, I guess he's I think it's a good sign of leadership by Rodgers because it's more so to get acquainted with the teammates. It's not that he just wants to hang out and needs people to hang out with. I'm sure there's a method to his madness here.
Oh yeah. But I will say, with this talk about the wide receivers on this team, obviously the four wide receivers that are kind of locked in are Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and then Mecole Hardman and Randall Cobb. But Corey Davis is due $10.5 million, but it's non-guaranteed. So they're gonna have an interesting decision here. Could they just ship him off somewhere, get something else out of it, or do you think they'll hold on to him and give him that 10 mil?
I don't know. It kind of sounds like it might be up to Aaron Rodgers. If it was me, and kind of with the wide receivers that you've brought in, you've sort of loaded the position now. I think out of anybody that I'd get rid of, it would probably be Corey Davis. Unfortunately, not to say that he's not talented. It's just you have absolutely loaded yourself at this position, and now you may have to pay Corey Davis, which I just don't really think is very like it's not a smart decision anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. His production just wasn't there, and obviously they've had the issues at quarterback over the last couple of years. But it's a crowded wide receiver room, and we know for sure Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and most likely Mecole Hardman are going to get their targets. Randall Cobb, of course, will be in the game there, like here and there. But if Corey Davis doesn't have a spot, there's no reason to hold on to him.
Exactly, and I mean he's the kind of talent that I still think he could be easily a wide receiver too on probably more than half of the other teams in the league. So I would definitely elect to lose out on Corey Davis if I'm the Jets.
Yeah, and our last thing from just the impact of Rodgers is that the New York Jets have seen a 400% increase in season ticket and luxury suite sales since the Rodgers trade.
Yeah, he's got those celebrity contacts coming to his games now.
Oh, of course. I think that it's just kind of the perfect storm with Rodgers going to New York. It's a market that has a ton of fans already, and a lot of them that just are dying for good football. And they're finally seeing it come all together. And I have a feeling that, the Jets fans and just the celebrities that want to see Aaron Rodgers are going to be flocking to MetLife Stadium.
It'll be so interesting because Aaron Rodgers is definitely, out of his prime in his career, but like, dude, he is going to be all over our fucking feeds next season. I just know he is. He
Yeah.
will be easily more famous in his entire career. And it honestly, dude, it doesn't even matter what he does. He will just have so much media attention, and I think it'll be good for his brand. It'll obviously be good for the New York Jets, but it's just kind of interesting that now he's on the decline, but he's going to be probably more famous than he ever has been in his entire life.
Oh, yeah. Like the New York media is just going to blow him up. Like whether he does good or bad, his name's going to be in a headline every week.
For sure. And dude, oh my god, all the celebrity, I can already see the pictures now. Like fucking just something crazy like Joe Biden comes to watch Aaron Rodgers at the Jets game. Like I can just see the fucking pictures of the celebrities in the suites now.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to a little bit more news. I'm very excited for this. ESPN Films announced a 30 for 30 documentary called The Minister of Defense on NFL Hall of Famer Reggie White.
Let's go, dude.
I love Reggie White so much. And like I don't even think I played or I watched at all. But like I've gone back and watched the highlights, and I always hear people talk about how great he was, and I can't wait to watch this documentary.
And ESPN films, NFL films, like, all those kind of film companies that are, with the sport that they're a part of, they always do such a good job for like, sports nerds like you and I, Grayson. So I'll definitely be tuning into this one.
Oh yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit of rookie numbers. So, Falcons rookie running back Bijan Robinson will wear the number 7 in the NFL. Same number, of course, as Michael Vick that when he played for the Falcons. But that means that Younghoe Koo is going to have to find a new number.
Boo hoo.
It's tough. Hey, man, I love Younghoe Koo. He's really
Love
clutched up
Younghoe
for
Koo.
us plenty of times.
He has, but I definitely like his production has definitely declined though from what it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's still, Georgia legend. I think he's from Georgia Southern, is he not?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so definitely good to keep him around, but Bijan beating a running back number 7. I like it.
I do too.
Be
I think
cool.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yes, it will.
And then for your team, Joey Porter Jr. is going to wear number 24 in honor of Ike Taylor.
Yeah, in honor of Uncle Ike is what I heard. Obviously, Joey Porter Jr. probably knew Ike Taylor, from PSG bringing around his kid to the team. I like this a lot. My biggest bummer is Darnell Washington not wearing 0, even though the NFL rule changed literally this offseason, allowed players to wear 0. And I think it was actually a Steelers thing. They didn't allow him to wear the number 0.
Hmm.
Yeah, which really pisses me off that, we had a dress code like that, or, I guess it would be considered a dress code.
You know who would
Yeah,
also be a good number 0? George Pickens.
why?
He has that kind of energy, like the number
Oh, yeah.
0 is reserved for like a mean guy or like just like an explosive kind of player, and I see that as George Pickens.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Or number 1 for Pickens, but
Yeah.
he didn't go with that one either. But dude, could you imagine Darnell Washington with in the NFL, right? A 6'7", 270-pound guy wearing the number 0 in the NFL. Be just goofy, but I wish it would have happened, but instead we got 80. But overall, I'm happy with the Steelers rookie numbers.
Yeah. I never really have a problem with people's numbers unless they pick just stupid ones.
Yeah.
But let's continue talking a little bit more rookie news here. Devin Witherspoon was talking with Seattle Sports on meeting DK Metcalf. Said he's a big man. That's a big dude, no cap. He's a great person, though. He added the going against DK every day in practice sounds fun because it'll only make him get better.
Yeah, definitely will, considering the fact that DK is probably as fast as you, has probably, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds on you, 4 to 5 inches on you. Yeah, it'll definitely make you better.
Yeah, no kidding. But it'll also make Tariq Woolen better, who should be the one guarding him in practice.
For sure.
But this is some interesting news from Micah Parsons here. So the Cowboys linebacker, of course, will not be participating in the team's offseason program. Instead, he's working out in Austin, adding bulk and weight to become a full-time defensive end next season.
I have absolutely no problem with that.
Me neither. That's going to be fucking scary.
I mean, imagine being a coach and saying like, "Nah, you got to be a part of our off-season program," and instead of bulking and adding weight to what you already have.
Yeah. Like, think about the fact that Micah Parsons is just going to be bigger and still fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, like you just mentioned, he's got to be able to keep the speed because I know, adding that bulk and weight can sometimes slow down your game, but I don't know. With him, he may not, have that kind of an issue. That'll just be like a freaking demon out there at defensive end. If he can keep the same speed and add weight and bulk, God man, that's a freak out there on the football field.
Yeah, and speaking of giants on the Cowboys, Mozzie Smith, the defensive tackle they drafted out of Michigan, Michael Parsons was asked about him, and he said, you got to give him attention. He's going to push guys back. He's powerful. He's strong. He's going to get under people's pads, and he's great in the run, and we're going to develop him in the pass. So it looks like Michael Parsons ready to be hands-on with Mozzie Smith.
I just love when the NFL vets completely just cradle the rookies. I think that's so sick. But Ozzie Smith, dude, I didn't really realize how good this guy was and how athletic he was at his size. But I don't know if I sent you the video on Instagram, Grayson, but there was a video of Mozzie Smith doing box jumps, and it was like a repetitive box jump. It was like he was jumping upstairs, basically. That man, I don't know how tall and how much he weighs off the top of my head, but he can fucking move for his size, like scary fast.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, just the Cowboys. I think I kind of overlooked this pick. After watching highlights of him and watching his combine and like I just mentioned the box jumps, they may have gotten a really good guy here.
Oh, yeah. I think they made a fantastic pick with Mozzie Smith. Like, where they got him, he was the best decision they could have made, and I'm very happy with that pick that they made.
Yeah, no, he's going to be great for the Cowboys.
All right, we got some more evidence that Chargers just need to stop talking to the media if possible because they just keep saying shit that doesn't sound very good. And this one coming from their GM Tom Telesco, he said that the Hurts and Jackson contracts are not a blueprint affecting negotiations for Herbert deal. So does this mean that maybe they're saying that Herbert's going to get something longer term, lower money, or what? Because if I'm Justin Herbert, I'd like to think that those two contracts are a blueprint for my deal.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like the Chargers sort of wanting to put their foot down here because, like, I'm sure it's kind of annoying for at least the team side of negotiating contracts where a player, a peer in your position gets signed for a shit ton of money. And, obviously that's going to affect your own contract negotiations. And maybe this could be just as simple as the Chargers won't let, other deals affect what they think Herbert is worth, but obviously it does. And I mean, there will be teams that want Herbert and will give him, probably more money and more money than Hurts and Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, you're kind of right. The Chargers need a caretaker for their entire media team. Like, I mean, this is just horrible.
Yeah, they just can't stop digging themselves into deeper holes. But this one that I'm about to talk about is rather interesting, and I'm sure you're gonna love it. But the Patriots and Steelers trade in the first round was done to torment the Jets.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
It's pretty interesting because looks like Bill Belichick's already trying to get into the Jets and Aaron Rodgers' head.
Yeah, very funny, and it kind of makes you think like, were the Steelers, content with not taking Broderick Jones? Because this must mean that Broderick Jones was 100% going to be a Jet.
Yeah, that's kind of how I saw it. Like looking back at the draft, after our episode, I kind of realized that that's what they were doing was the Steelers wanted an offensive lineman and they, kind of realized like, oh shit, like Johnson, Skoronski, Wright are all off the board. We have to get Broderick Jones if we're going offensive line here. And just seems like the Patriots just wanted to fuck over the Jets.
Which is, I mean, absolutely hilarious. I'm all for it, man. I mean, the rivalries and, the divisions, to me, that's what makes, the NFL is those kind of rivalries that you get there. And especially when they extend like into like the business side, I just think it's so funny. It's so petty. And I love this. I thought this was so hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. And then this is a great story here. So CJ Stroud and Tank Dell out of Houston reportedly created a tight bond while they were at the combine together. And after Stroud was selected by the Texans, he had one demand to their front office. He told them to get Tank Dell. And then 2 rounds later, the Texans followed his request and picked him.
I have no problem with it. Like, players may not necessarily be scouts, but like they know what a good fucking football player looks like. So, absolutely no problem with this.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And it's also, I think it's a great move for the Texans picking up a wide receiver. And Tank Dell is very good. Just didn't, quite get the attention that people thought he would in this draft. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. And it just, from day one, literally the first couple of hours or the first day that you have CJ Stroud on the team, you're already showing that you trust him.
I was literally just about to say that. It speaks volumes to how, in the Texans are for Stroud. And I mean, they're already kind of letting him be that quarterback scout role that, kind of like with what Aaron Rodgers was this offseason. So I think it's cool that the Texans are already kind of trusting him this much. And I mean, that's exactly how you have the ability to keep these guys around for a long time. And, I'm sure what the Texans hope is his entire career. So I just love stuff like this.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Let's talk about another draft day move here. So DeAndre Swift, who was obviously traded to the Eagles during the draft, said that he was unable to sleep the last few nights thinking about what a great chance he has with the Eagles. He was quoted saying, "I'm excited to get to work and be a piece of the puzzle." And what makes this move even more interesting is the news that came out the other day that the Lions had called the Rams during the draft trying to trade DeAndre Swift, and the Rams declined, and then Detroit ended up trading him to the Eagles.
Interesting. Yeah, this is that was a very interesting move when I heard that DeAndre Swift got drafted to the Eagles, or not drafted but traded the Eagles. That was just kind of like, it was crazy, but I'm excited for Swift. I think he'll be a great addition to that offense. Yeah, I just think it'll be a good move for Swift in the long run.
Yeah, and to kind of close out this NFL news, with the top, you know, with the Texans taking two of the top three picks in this draft, they have a huge total for their rookie allocations for signings from this class at $105,910,734 total.
I just can't wait, Grayson, for you and I to cover this down the road and have to pick up the pieces because you and I both kind of talked about that. It seems like when the NFL teams draft guys, is they kind of don't really manage their contract very well. And I can definitely see this being a topic of discussion, for the Texans down the road.
Yeah, I think what they've done well though is that with the signings that they made this offseason to kind of get this team ready for what they were drafting, they didn't put huge money into anybody except Laramie Tunsil, who signed an extension. So it's not like they have a ton of money tied up in these guys so that, when that fourth year comes around for Will Anderson and CJ Stroud and probably a few other guys, they might not have, too much of a money problem sitting ahead of them.
That's a good point. And it kind of, makes you think back to them trading away Brandon Cooks, or he got signed. I can't really remember
Yeah,
exactly what the
they traded
Texans
him.
did. Traded him. So it definitely kind of makes sense there. Is they were probably planning on drafting a lot of, contract, if you will, if that makes sense. So it definitely makes sense for them to have gotten rid of Brandon Cooks too, because I think he was asking for a lot. So
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. So you ready to get into some soccer news? It's not a segment
I,
that we typically have, but a few big things happened.
yeah, I'm excited, dude.
All right, well, we got to start with the biggest thing going on in soccer. I'd say Messi. It's been announced that he will be leaving PSG at the end of the season, following I believe it was a 20-game suspension. Is that right?
Something like that. I can look it up real fast.
Yeah, I believe it's a 20-game suspension that was given to him by PSG, because of an unapproved trip to Saudi Arabia. So, uh, is this Messi? Is Messi going to sign with the Saudi Arabian team?
Okay, so I had for some reason I had Messi suspendido. For some reason, my laptop went into Spanish mode, so he is suspended for 2 semanas, 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't know why it gave it to me in Spanish, but
That's funny.
I think I think it is 100%er he'll end up in Barcelona, but
Oh,
we have to mention how much money the Saudis are offering him, because me and my roommate actually kind of calculated it. $400 million a year to play a sport. That is incredible money to offer somebody.
wait. You said a year?
Yes.
What the fuck?
$1.2 million a day. Lionel Messi. Move to Saudi Arabia. Now,
Oh my god.
dude, I would sell out for that kind of money. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. But I think he'll end up back in Barcelona, which is, of course, what I think, what I hope happens, of course. What do you think?
I don't know. Even though he's getting up there and his career's kind of nearing its end, I'd still love to see him show up in the Prem.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, what if he ended up in Manchester City?
He could. He'd go back to right wing.
I think a team like Manchester City would make a lot of sense for Lionel Messi, because with the way that they play, and you and I have talked about it before, Manchester City don't really have wingers. They just have like six central midfielders, but
Yeah.
like two of them are like fast and are kind of a little bit used to playing on the side. I just honestly feel like Messi would really fit in well to
Yeah.
play kind of a wing at Manchester City.
Yeah. Like even at this point in his career, I'd say he's an upgrade over like Riyad Mahrez starting at right wing.
Oh, 100%. Of course, he would have to deal with the physicality of the Premier League, but Messi's game has always been like, I'm going to dribble at you, but you're still not going to be able to like put a hand on me,
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing.
think.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying that like they always say can Messi do it in a rainy night in Stoke? Well, yeah, he probably could because none of the defenders would be able to touch him anyway
Yeah, and
with
I
his play
think
style.
I think talking about like with Messi, you keep like a lot of people, not just you, keep bringing up the physicality of the Prem. I feel like if we're gonna talk about physicality, the second best is La Liga.
I would say that's debatable, but another physical league. Yeah.
I think when it comes to the defenders, because like a lot of like the huge physical defenders that we've seen even play in the Prem have also played in La Liga. Like it happens all the time, and like a lot of like definitely dirty players. A lot of dirty players play in La Liga.
That is a good point. I know historically the Bundesliga have always been big. Like I remember a couple years ago, I know it's only one team, but Bayern Munich's like player transformations were kind of crazy. Like I know specifically Leon Goretzka, like his before and after Bayern pictures are like stupid. He's
Yeah,
absolutely shredded now. I know historically the Italians have always been kind of like physical defenders, more like aggressive, I would say, in Italy, like, flying in for slide tackles, like jumping at players, like a lot of aerial play too. So, I mean, maybe you could argue that La Liga also has the physicality of the Premier League, but like, I don't know. There are definitely, I would argue that the Bundesliga and the Serie A are like better physical defending leagues than La Liga, but, La Liga is also pretty good too.
yeah. I think Serie A definitely is up there. But like when I think about like the like prime Messi, like what he was going up against, like in El Clasico, like the two center backs that you're facing, Sergio Ramos and Pepe, like that's fucking scary.
Oh yeah. Two players that wanted to kill Messi.
Yeah, I think it was their life goal, and now he's teammates with one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not for long, but
Yeah, but back to kind of what we were talking about though, or the main thing is I'm just so glad he's leaving PSG.
yep,
They were booing him at just kind of course I don't really know the whole situation because like your ultra groups and Europe are very organized and they definitely have their reasons for not liking players and doing the things that they do. But personally, from an outsider looking in, I don't see any world that Lionel Messi or Neymar should be being booed. I saw videos of them outside of his house, Neymar's house, the
yeah,
PSG Ultras. It's just like, man, like y'all don't realize like those are players that your team has heavily invested money in, and you're just kind of running them out of town basically. So, not too sure what's going on over there in Paris, but I'm glad that Messi's gone.
yeah. So I'm really distracted. Ronald Acuna just fouled off a ball into his knee, and he is laying
Oh,
on the ground. I'm
that's
just
not
gonna
good.
ignore that. Um, All right, let's
Oh,
talk
no.
about it now. Erling Haaland is the new single season Premier League record goal scorer with 35, correct? That's the number 35?
Yes.
Okay.
As of now, he could score
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, he's only played 31 games. Or that's just
Unbelievable.
through 31 games. I don't even know if he's played in all of them.
Yeah.
It's just
Um,
ridiculous.
it- and to keep, dude, it's his first season here. Like, there
Yeah.
was no development or like ease in time for Erling Haaland. Like, if he would have scored 22 or 21 this season, I would have been like, wow, like, he's moving up in leagues as far as difficulty. I would, argue Bundesliga to Premier League, and he's still able to score 21 goals. Like, this is incredible. No,
Yeah. Yeah,
35. And with the potential and the probability of scoring, like, I would probably say 41 at
he
least.
could.
Yeah, he definitely could.
What, they've
It's
got
unbelievable.
so he's played 31. I think Manchester City's played 34 games. So what, they have 4 games left?
Yes. No, Manchester City have only played 33, dude.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's
Ridiculous.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was good at Dortmund, but like I I just that I am just stuck on the fact that it is his first season in the Prem. That is what I
Yeah,
can't get over.
it's absolutely insane. And what's crazy is like he's scored 35 goals, and Manchester City in total has scored 87.
Yeah, I mean, he really, literally is the guy there.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane what he's been able to do. And like I've been seeing so many like old takes exposed of like everybody when Erling Haaland transferred. They're like, yeah, he's gonna have to get used to it and like blah blah blah, like all this stuff. And then now he's broken the record, didn't even need the whole season.
Yeah, I was 100% one of those people. But I'm trying to find it on Wikipedia, but obviously I can't because we're recording. Um, he broke a record that was like 20 something years old. I think it was like Alan Shearer in
Yeah.
the early 2000s, and then someone also tied Alan Shearer, or Alan Shearer tied somebody. Can't remember what it was though, but I think two people were tied at first before Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I know that one of them was Alan Shearer and Andy Cole. Yeah, it was
Okay.
Alan Shearer and Andy Cole, um, which I believe they played in a much long, like a 42 game season.
Okay, here I have it here. Not how many games they played, but so Andy Cole and the 1993 to 1994 season scored 34 goals with Newcastle. Alan Shearer, literally the year after, tied that record in the 94-95 season, and it has taken until 2022 for this record to be broken. And it's not just being broken; it's being absolutely murdered.
Yeah, it's so crazy, and like the fact that it's his first year makes it that much crazier.
Yeah, just makes you want. And I mean, like, I'm sure striker at Manchester City and kind of the way they play and what we've talked about earlier with their passing ability and their through ball ability, like he is in the best situation to do this. I'm not taking anything away from his ability, but like he really did go to the best team for this to happen to him on the most
Oh
likely,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, and like
It's still amazing.
he's only 22 years old.
Oh my god. See, that's another stat that I didn't even like really think of. That's even more mind blowing.
Yeah, like he doesn't turn
uh,
23 until July, like late July. It's so crazy to see. We're witnessing possibly one of the best ever.
yeah, one of the best goal scorers ever for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Let's talk one more thing before we get into the Champions League semifinals. But Real Madrid are in advanced talks to sign Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, this is you know, in soccer it just doesn't make sense. Or and I guess in football it just doesn't make sense to do this. Like you would think that Real Madrid, and we've talked about it before, Camavinga, who I guess is now a left back, Chouameni, the French guy,
Yeah,
Cruz, Modric. It kind of makes me wonder if this move is kind of maybe to get rid of either Cruz or Modric. Maybe they're kind of getting too old for Real Madrid at this point. Who knows?
yeah. I think I'm in the same boat with that one. I can't really decide who it would be because both of them have played pretty well this year and have played very well over the last couple of years, even though they're getting up there in age. I think Modric is the older one. Maybe he just looks older, but um, like yeah, Modric's 37 years old, and Tony Cruz is 33. So yeah, Modric's got 4 years on him. I got a feeling it's probably gonna be Modric that gets at least thrown to the bench, if not shipped off.
I'm not gonna lie. I think it could be Cruz.
Like I guess you probably would get more value out of Tony Cruz if you did make him leave.
Well, not even that. I just think that Modric, at his age, is still playing better. He's the best midfielder on that team. I would argue.
Yeah,
And Jude Bellingham, even it's just kind of like I don't know if he'll be on the bench or not. Is kind of another question that I'm thinking. Because what if they don't get rid of Cruz or Modric? Because I mean, both of them are still playing well. Um, so I don't know. It just if Jude Bellingham joins, that is a loaded and young midfield too, especially the guys on the bench.
yeah, it's a fantastic problem to have.
Yeah, but I know a lot of the Prim teams are going to be upset that they couldn't get their hands on Bellingham, but it just kind of seems like none of the Premier League teams have tried really hard enough for him. I know Liverpool, I think, was kind of the main team wanting Bellingham. I know Chelsea were in there and City were in there too, but looks like Real Madrid's probably going to get this one.
Yeah, yeah, I have a feeling they will. Um, so I got distracted because I looked up Tony Cruz's age, and then I see like his little like about thing. And one of the things that his Wikipedia page says is he is widely regarded as one of the greatest midfielders of all time.
Hmm.
I don't know
I
about
mean,
like I think he's certainly had like a storied career. I would not put him up there as one of the greatest of all time.
see, that's the thing with soccer too. Is like there's so many legends, like upon legends.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
I
just
don't know.
because
I,
there's
I
so
think
many
I might.
leagues.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many leagues, and there's honestly like in any other sport, there's just a lot more abundance of like superstar talent too.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I might put him up there. He's won a World Cup. He's won a Champions League.
Yeah, no, like I said, he's had a storied career, like a decorated career. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that they say widely regarded because
Yeah,
I feel like it's pretty arguable.
yeah. Okay,
All
yeah.
right,
We
and
can agree on that.
before we move on, I forgot to put this on the prep sheet, but I want to bring this up. Barcelona had a 15-year-old debut last week. He was born in
Yep.
2007.
Unbelievable.
That is
Unbelievable. Who was
so
that guy?
crazy. I can't quite remember his name. I'm looking it up right now. Um, but like it's Lamine Yamal. He's the youngest ever La Liga player. Actually got subbed on for Gavi, another very young player. But like it's just like he looks like a child.
He really does. That must be a lot of freaking pressure.
Think about it. If he was in
Yeah,
America right now, he'd be a sophomore in high school or a freshman or sophomore in high school.
yeah. And but he's not in America. He's actually, debuting for Barcelona.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
I feel like Barcelona does this though. Like they've always got young guys. Like of course, like Messi came up very young, and in recent years, Ansu Fati came up young. Like they seem to do a very good job of like bringing up very young guys.
yeah, Barcelona's academy, La Maesa, I think is what it's called, is just seriously no joke. And it always has been, no joke. They've had, guys like Victor Valdez who came out of there, Iniesta, Xavi, PK. I mean, the
Yeah.
list goes on. Puyol, I think, was another one.
Yep.
Messi, of course. Just, they're loaded there. They always have been.
Yeah. It's La Masia.
Masia, thank you.
But yeah, I wanted to bring that up. But let's talk Champions League because it seems like this has quickly come upon us. The Champions League semifinals, leg 1 is next week on May 9th. We've got Real Madrid versus Man City, May 10th, Milan versus Inter Milan. Let's start with Real Madrid versus Man City. This is like it's two immovable objects running into each other.
Yeah, I almost don't even like really want a team to get knocked out. Well, I do want Manchester City to, definitely get knocked out here, but like dude, these teams, I literally your second legs here are one of the best derbies and rivalries in the entire sport, and then probably the two best teams in the world right now.
Yeah. And what's
It's
crazy
incredible.
is that when these two teams match up, they have not drawn in their last 6.
Wow. So we can pretty much conclude that both legs for both of these games will be like played to a result pretty much.
Yeah, and I do have to put this out there. Manchester City haven't lost in 19 matches.
Yeah. The treble just looks more real every day
Yeah.
for them. Um, I mean, just and that's kind of the notes that I have here on this game. Like their form is unmatched, like you just said, 19 games unbeaten. Holland just broke the record and has more games to go. They're first in the Prem with a game in hand, which is just stupid. I mean, you're still in the FA Cup, you're in the semifinal. Unbelievable. Unbelievable end of the season. Unbelievable entire season for Manchester City, really.
Yeah, but, like, with Real Madrid, they're coming off of a loss to Real Sociedad, 2 days ago. Like, this is a very surprising thing, but it seems like when they're playing in La Liga, they're not even putting out their best lineup.
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, it's all for the Champions League for the Madrid, for Real Madrid.
Yeah, like, in this matchup against Real Sociedad, you had, Valverde was on the bench, Modric was hurt, Karim Benzema was out as well, David Alaba's out, Ferland Mendy's obviously still out, Vinicius Junior was out, and you still sat some, like, pretty solid players, and, like their starting striker was Mariano Diaz, and they had Danny Ceballos starting in right center mid. So an interesting one. And Danny Carvajal picked up a red.
Oh no, well, I know that game, Real Madrid are going to be ready for Manchester City, kind of like how Manchester City are going to be ready for Real Madrid most likely. So, I mean, are we doing predictions?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Just
cool.
for leg one. So how do we think the first match is going to go? It is at the Bernabeu.
Thank you for saying that because I was about to go look it up. At the Bernabeu, semifinal at the Bernabeu. It's going to be tough, but Manchester City have looked good away. I can't bet against them. I think it'll be 2-1 Man City first leg.
All right. I'm thinking 2-2 draw between the two.
Okay.
Look, it's hard to stop either of these teams from scoring, and as long as Karim Benzema is back and healthy in this one, as well as Vinicius Junior, I have a feeling it'll be hard to stop Real Madrid as well.
Exactly, and I remember I've said this before, and you kind of agreed with me. Is what it seems like you can't let Manchester City do is score first. If they score
Yeah.
first, and you kind of have to start, picking up the pace, especially in a second leg. If Real Madrid find themselves down with like 70 minutes left in the second leg, and they have to start attacking, that's when it's going to get dangerous. That's when it's going to get probably pretty bloody. Especially if Manchester City are able to, make offensive subs where they have fresh guys going up against Real Madrid defenders that have been playing the entire game. It can get brutal very fast. So the key for Real Madrid is not letting Manchester City score first, but it seems like really no one has been able to stop that from happening. So I'm going to go 2-1. Yeah, 2-1 Manchester City first leg.
Let's get into Milan versus Inter. This one is an interesting matchup. I think there's a lot to look for with this matchup, but is it gonna be what we want it to be?
Um, I hope it is. I don't even like to think about the fact that it may just be a complete dud. 2 legs for these two teams, but like I mean, it's definitely got the hype to be exactly what we want it to be.
Yeah, and it does look like Inter is going to be missing Robin Gosens for this match. He's out till mid-May, so a little bit of a loss there for Inter, but Inter is on very good form. They've won their last four, whereas Milan, two straight draws, got a win, and then two draws before that. Like, I think that Inter is surprisingly on better form, and they're playing arguably some better teams in the stretch.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at what's going on in the Serie A to be able to really like disagree or agree with that, but I mean, I just can't believe this is the first time we're seeing this since that infamous 2005 game where Dita got hit by a flare and the game ended up getting suspended, and you have that iconic picture of Maserati, the guy who got headbutted by the Zidane, and Rui Costa, and they're two like AC Milan inner jerseys, like looking at the flares and like the chaos. Oh man, I hope that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, I think there's nothing more that I want out of this matchup than chaos.
Yeah,
Obviously
and I
controlled. I don't want any,
yes,
crazy stuff, but chaos on the pitch at least. And I want to see the
for sure.
fans going crazy, but staying safe.
Yes. I think, kind of a bold thing that we can talk about and kind of predict here. Are we thinking a red card in the first leg?
Oh, we definitely could see one.
I'm predicting a ton of yellow cards in both legs.
Yeah,
I
I hear.
I
I've got a prediction here in the first leg. Um, one of, if not both of the managers will at least get booked with yellow cards.
I was thinking the same thing, except I was thinking maybe like late in the second leg, if like one team knows they're gonna lose, they're just kind of gonna,
Play like
be-
assholes.
yeah, which happens all the time in
Yeah.
soccer. It's a pretty petty sport if you think about it. Uh, dang, what I just can't believe this is a semifinal of the Champions League. I mean, Milan and Inter are, they might not be the best teams. Of course, I would argue that they don't really even compare to Real Madrid or Manchester City, but like Milan and Inter, and especially Italian teams in general, because we saw it with Napoli a lot in the Champions League, is they just play with so much heart. Like it's fast, it's counterattack, it's physical, and it's everything that we want and what we need to happen. So I'm predicting a lot of counterattacks, a lot of like rough challenges, some clean, some not. Yellow cards, maybe some red cards. I'm predicting all of it for the Derby della Madonnina.
Yeah, I think that the best thing about this is that it's two legs at the same stadium. There is no home field advantage. Like it's just all out war.
Yeah, and it's the San Siro is a temple of the sport, really, kind of like your old Traffords and Wembleys and places like that. And the year before it's getting torn down too, like this will be some of the last games that are played there, and it is so fitting.
Yeah, it really is. And just to talk about the two teams themselves, I just talked about their form. Milan hasn't lost in their last eight. Inter hasn't lost in their last five. But Inter have won the previous two matchups against AC Milan. So, how do you feel going into this? Who do you like in leg one?
Man, I think it's so hard to separate these two teams, man. I really don't know. Because it's the same stadium too, so you don't really have like your home field advantage to base it off of. I think leg one is a tie, and leg two is when all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was. But also, I think that for me, Milan is more of like the young side in this one. And I think that that bodes well for them in the first match. But I think that Inter, with kind of the veteran talent and the very sorry, very experienced players, is going to give them the edge. So as long as Milan doesn't run away with it in the first one, I think Inter has a great chance to advance.
Yeah, so I think for a first leg prediction, I'm gonna go 1-1 the first leg, and then I know we're not doing second leg predictions, but I will say this: I think that there will be a lot of goals for both teams in the second leg.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 2-1 Milan in the first one.
Okay, I'm going 1-1, 1-1 draw.
All right. Well, we'll just have to see what happens next week and report back to y'all. But let's talk Prem. We've got a decent weekend in the Prem. Nothing crazy, but the biggest thing here, of course, is the race for first place. Manchester City, one game back in games played on Arsenal, but 1 point ahead of them at 79. They just won't lose, and Arsenal is struggling. Luckily, coming off the big win against Chelsea, but a very bad last four.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when I was doing the prep sheet, I kind of was thinking to myself, what team will we see out of Manchester City because they do play on Tuesday against Real Madrid. Um, so I wonder if some guys will get benched. I wonder if maybe it doesn't even matter if some guys get benched or not, against a team like Leeds. But I definitely think we'll see some players that we don't get to see often out of Manchester City, and who knows, it could bode well for a good matchup for Leeds.
Yeah, and look for Man City. I think that you can't really sit people here because every game here on out is must win for the rest of this season. Every single game that Manchester City plays, they have to win, and it's a good thing that they're running into a Leeds team that obviously doesn't know how to win. They haven't in their last five at least. Four losses in that span is brutal, and the biggest thing here, though, is that Leeds are backed up in the corner right now, and if they lose here, it propels them into relegation, especially with Nottingham Forest, who's tied on points with them. Um, Nottingham Forest faces Southampton, who's one of two teams that's worse than them, and Leicester, who is tied on points with Leeds but ahead of them in goal differential, faces Fulham, who isn't on the best of forms right now with three straight losses.
Yeah. Must win for both teams, really. And I like how you brought that up because, the other side to what I just mentioned is that the Premier League is still so close to where Manchester City are not in a position to really be able to bench guys without having some worry or some concern because, it is Leeds, but it's also still the Premier League. Leeds are, if they will probably capitalize on any weakness that Manchester City has, especially if it's like a big one or an obvious one. And it'll be kind of interesting, again to see if Manchester City does decide to rest guys or not.
Yeah, I think it definitely will be. So, what's your score prediction here?
Um, I think Manchester City will at least bench Holland
Interesting.
because he just broke the record. I mean, he can only break it even more. He can't, like re-break it. Well, I guess technically he would be re-breaking it every time he scores, but like
Yes, he'd be setting a new
I
one.
feel like against Leeds, you bench this guy. So I'm gonna go 2-0 City.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 2-1. I'll let Leeds get on the board.
Close game there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it'll be close though. If you
Yeah,
watch it.
probably not.
All right, let's talk Liverpool versus Brentford. This one's a big one, at least in Europa League standings here. So Liverpool on fantastic form. They've won five straight, including wins over kind of top half teams in the last two with Fulham and Tottenham. So Liverpool sitting at 59 points right now. Brentford at 50. But the bigger thing here is that if Liverpool doesn't get any points here, Brighton has a fantastic chance to really push towards them. Brighton's facing Everton this weekend, and they're only 4 points back on Liverpool. So Liverpool needs to at least get out of this match against Brentford with a draw.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily out of the realm. I don't think this is going to be kind of an easy one for Liverpool. Brentford have looked good. They've won their last two, both which were clean sheets. But of course, their last five, you got two wins, two losses, and one draw. So not the best. It's not that doesn't really even compare to how good Liverpool has been. Which I like this Liverpool team a lot here at the end of the season because it really says a lot about the teams that can heat up this late in the season. Kind of like with what Manchester City are doing as well. Um, so, just for that reason alone, off of having to grind and really grit your teeth to become a hot team this late in the season, everybody's tired, everybody's thinking about vacation. Liverpool players clearly aren't, and I kind of like that mentality going into Brentford. So, I think I like Liverpool in this one.
Yeah, I think I like Liverpool as well, but now that I'm looking at it a little deeper, Brighton's still two games to be played against or from Liverpool. So Brighton definitely has a chance to jump Liverpool. So Liverpool realistically needs 3 points here. Um, but I think the hot streak's going to come to an end. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Okay. Again, I think I'm going to go with a 2-1, but for Liverpool.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to see I want to see Brighton in the top 5.
It would be awesome to see Brighton in the top 5 spot. Dude, Brighton in the Champions League? Come on now.
I
That'd be
don't know
awesome.
about that. That's a reach.
That'd be awesome.
They'd have to cover some pretty good ground on Man U.
Yeah, they would.
Though they did pick up the win today against Manchester United, so it's a good way to
You
start it.
know, it's always good beating Manchester United, especially this season.
Yeah. All right. I'd say this is the biggest matchup of the weekend. Newcastle versus Arsenal. This is like big because look, I know that Newcastle is getting pretty close to locking up their position in the Champions League, but you'd still like to finish ahead of Manchester United. And with Manchester United facing West Ham on Sunday, if got a pretty good chance of getting some points there. So Newcastle probably wants to win this one pretty bad, and Arsenal certainly wants to win this one bad.
Dude, Newcastle Grayson have got this game in the bag. I don't even think it's a question.
Yeah?
Yes. I mean, you've kind of sold me on them. Their defense is truly immaculate. And this Arsenal team, especially as of late, is not immaculate. I mean, of course, like, they're still up there. And I mean, they're still playing well, but the wins, aren't coming as often as they need to be, which has allowed, Manchester City to be a point ahead of them with a game in hand. I think Manchester City's already won the league, and Newcastle will beat Arsenal.
You don't think that Arsenal kind of whipping up on Chelsea a little bit 2 days ago is going to help them out to beat
Dude, it's
Newcastle?
Chelsea. It's Chelsea. I mean, I hate to say that about my own guys, but like
I'm just
anybody
I was
getting
just
a win.
baiting you there. While we're talking about Chelsea, how bad do you think they're going to finish? Because like yeah, they've won their last two, but they're not in a good spot right now. Or
We're
sorry, no,
not
they
going to get
haven't they haven't won their last two. I was looking at Bournemouth, who has.
yeah. No, Chelsea are just trash, and have been trash for pretty much really the turn of the year. Honestly, even before
Yeah.
that, kind of trash as well. I don't think Chelsea are going to get relegated. I know a lot of fans have been kind of joking about that, but I mean, it is funny that it is a possibility for Chelsea to get relegated. Don't think it's going to happen. I think we drop. I think we finish probably like 13th or 14th.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a realistic spot. Um, so is Frank Lampard done? Like, no more chances?
Yeah. Um, I don't really know. I don't know what to say about Frank Lampard as a manager, honestly, because he's had success with teams like Derby. It's just when it comes to Chelsea, or I guess really any big club, he's just really not ready for it yet. So I mean, I think it's cool that out of anybody that could have taken the team over, it is a team legend who can kind of instill a better mentality among the squad, especially Chelsea brought in so much new talent at an awkward time, being the January transfer window. I think it was good to bring in a club legend to kind of at least, may not get the results, but at least teach the players, what it means to be a part of the team and the history and all that. So I still like that it was Frank Lampard that took it over, but man, I cannot wait for our new manager next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody that's been rumored?
Luis Enrique before. It looks like Pochettino is going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Which I mean, even infuriates me more. You're bringing in an old Tottenham manager who barely really even did anything for our rival team. I mean, he did take them to the Champions League final, but they lost to Liverpool. I would have liked to have seen somebody completely different than an old manager from a rival club. But I mean, Pochettino had some sort of success, but I don't think he's had Chelsea level success.
Yeah. I can see that.
So that's my 2 cents on that. But I don't know what Chelsea are going to look like next season, really.
All right. Well, Luke, it's time to debut this new segment here.
Let's do it.
All right. It is called Top 3 Bottom 3. So what we're going to do, we'll have any given topic. Doesn't always have to be sports, and this week it's not. So we will draft our top 3 of, things regarding that topic and our bottom 3 of things regarding that topic. And what, what a better time to do it than to start this week with the weather warming up and, me and Luke's semesters are coming to a close. We're going to talk summer activities. What are the top 3 and bottom 3 draft style? Luke, you've got the first pick on the top 3. You want to start top 3 or bottom 3?
I like to start top 3.
Okay. Then you've got 1-1.
So, I'm going to take a kind of an easy one here. Not one of the more dumber ones on my list, but it needs to be mentioned. And for me, it's throwing the frisbee. It's got to be my first pick, because I would consider myself actually really decent at throwing the frisbee, but I never do it unless it's summertime, unless the weather is warm. It is, to me, strictly a summer activity to throw the frisbee with your buddies, throw them to your dog. Like, it's just such a warm weather activity. So yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to throwing the frisbee today, or not today, but this summer.
Yeah. As a guy that played ultimate frisbee in high school, I certainly played in the cold. It's not as fun as when it's hot, so I can vouch for this.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I have a couple ones that I really like, but I talked about it earlier, and this is just elaborating a little more on it. It's not just going to a baseball game, but it's sitting in some really shitty seats. The summer is for like the $12 nosebleed seats, and it's somehow better than spending, 60 to $100 on like decent seats.
I, yeah, but I giggle every time I go to Truist Park because if you go to a summertime evening game at Truist Park and look into the outfield, all you can do is just feel sorry for all those fans.
Yeah,
The sun is on those guys the entire game, and it's hilarious.
dude, nosebleeds straight up behind the plate, all the way up. Like I've literally sat up there with my back against the top fence of that stadium. There's nothing better on like a warm summer night.
Oh yeah, you're under the shade there too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the place to be.
All right. What's your second?
So this is I absolutely love doing this, and so do my friends. And I maybe you can attest to this too, Grayson. But this is a really good one. So for my second pick in our debut of top three bottom three draft, I am taking talking to your friends about girls and never going up and talking to them. It's like, wow, she's really pretty, and then never doing anything about it. That's got to be top two.
And it's
Got
the
to be
best.
top two.
It's the best in the summer.
It is the best in the summer. Like, wow, that would be so cool, and then never doing anything about it.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna do another one that is a big thing for me and my friends is taking day trips to rural towns.
Ooh,
I love it.
that's a good
Like
one.
get driving a few hours away, like day trip, for me, it is like, an hour, hour and a half away is Ellijay. And love a good day trip to Ellijay, tube down the river, go hit downtown, grab some food, look at some shops, like things like that, or like go down to South Georgia, like cross through Atlanta, get rural. Like there's always something fun to find down there.
Ella J, man, my rival county actually, they have a way better downtown
Yeah.
than Jasper. Way better tubing. Of course, we can't even tube where I'm from. And yeah, dude, the Cartagay River is sick up there to go tube down.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Love it. All right, for my third pick, this one, just kind of going back to your norms. I have riding with the windows down 24/7, especially like leaving work, it's late, just, that summer breeze coming through, in the dead of night, just it's so peaceful. You are one with the world, riding with the windows down. I'll even make it more specific during the nighttime or evening time.
I like the pick, but personally, I kind of have the 1-2 punch of being against that, which is having long hair and having a horrible pollen allergy.
Oh yeah. Well, my pollen, luckily it stops in like May. So
Nah.
luckily I can do that, but damn, that sucks. I'm sorry.
When I was a kid, we used to keep metal spoons in the freezer because when I'd play outside for hours, my eyes would get so red. I'd have to come in and put these frozen metal spoons on my eyes to like reduce the inflammation.
Does that help?
Yeah, it's just like really cold, so it reduces the swelling.
I might have to try that. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, shout out my parents for that one.
My eyes always get fucked in the springtime. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Right.
All
So
right,
you
my
start first with the bottom
well, no,
three,
I
right?
still have my
Oh, my
last of
bad.
the top
Yeah.
three. I'm
All right.
I'm split between two, but I think we'll do some honorable mentions at the end because I have some ones that I want to do. So this one I think is very underrated, and it's watching NFL split squad scrimmages, especially when they get in fights.
Okay.
This is my one of my favorite things that happens in the summer when training camp starts. It's more towards like the end of July and into August. We see split squad scrimmages, and there's always a fight.
Dude, what's the one DeAndre Hopkins and was it what's his name? Hall?
Oh, yeah, I think
Angelo Hall.
yes, when he was with
Yeah.
the then Redskins.
Yeah, he's like, I only fear God, bro, or
Yeah.
something like that, dude. D Hop is a total dog, but you're right. Like, And what was it last year? Like Aaron Donald, the Rams and the Bengals.
Yeah.
What a good idea the year after they played each other in the Super Bowl to put them in like a spring training game or a summer camp game. Yeah, summer camp game. And Aaron Donald apparently was reported holding two Bengal helmets
Yep.
in his hand and swinging them at people.
Dude, it's one of the best things to do in the summer.
That's a good pick.
All right. So now I get to flip it. And I get the first pick on the bottom three. I'm going with this one. And this is like some shit where, like, if you know me and we're going to hang out this summer, don't invite me to do this shit. Okay?
Okay, I'll write this down.
Easily the worst thing about the summer is going to public lake beaches.
Ooh.
I fucking can't stand them.
I have to disagree with you there.
I just there's something like, okay, look, I already am not like the biggest fan of just sand in general. Not a huge fan of like sitting in the sand. And like I would much rather be on a boat in the middle of the lake. Like 10
Okay.
times out of 10 I'm taking that over going to public lake beaches because first of all, it's not a fucking beach. It's a bunch of like it's literally there was probably pine straw there and then they just covered it in sand and call it a beach.
You're exactly right. The one that's up where me and my friends are, though, we actually have a lot of fun at our public beach, but sometimes it does absolutely suck. I will say,
Yeah, like I live
and
right
the
by
sand isn't even like
Alatoona.
real sand.
Yeah, exactly. It's like play sand. And I live right by Alatoona. There is like an unlimited amount of them that I could go to and I've been to a lot of them and I just hate all of them.
And well, I have a pretty specific one myself here too, and I have eating a popsicle, but the popsicle starts melting onto your fingers, like down the stick that you're holding.
I think
That
that
is one of the worst feelings, in my opinion.
I think that's low key fun. I think
Really.
that's the fun of eating a popsicle is how dirty it is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like, dude, it just like maybe it's just like a thing that I have with like sticky hands, but like I'm a slow eater and I like to take time, especially with my desserts. And my popsicles are always melting before I'm done with them, and it's just so annoying to feel it on my hands. And like you have to hold it. It's not like you can't really set down a popsicle, or then you're laying the popsicle on a table with pollen already on it.
That's
Like it's
fair.
just a big conundrum there.
Okay. Well, I've got my second worst would be taking a summer class.
Ooh, that's a
That
good
shit
one.
sucks. Like I work for 16 weeks straight or 18 weeks straight to pass these classes and you're telling me that you want me to take more? I'm not doing that shit.
I have never taken a summer class in my entire life.
I'm going to end up taking one by the time I'm done with college, and that's it.
Oh man, brutal.
It is brutal.
I have when you're on like vacation with your family, like for us Georgians, we have Florida, so wherever you guys have, just kind of picture this. When it rains on a beach day, and more so that when it rains on like your first day there, horrible, horrible. It almost like sets the tone for the rest of the vacation. You got to really work hard to not make the rest of the vacation like that rainy day.
Yeah, I like that. Look, okay, so this isn't my pick, but I personally don't like going to the beach. I like everything that's off the beach. So, like, I like beach towns. I don't like actually entering the beach access. And a rainy day doesn't really affect my day because I can still go out and do shit.
Yeah, that is true.
But I definitely understand it.
Yeah, it's no fun. But luckily in Florida, it's just scattered showers. It'll rain for like 30 minutes. It might actually torrentially storm for 30 minutes, and then you're fine for like the rest of the week. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's always a plus.
All right. Well, my final one, this one, it might be a little specific, but I think we can all figure out why it's here. It's going through an entire summer off season with the Raiders just to call your GM a cracker and get sent to the Patriots. That sucks when that happens.
Yeah, it does suck when that happens, but that would never happen.
No, but also like that happens to everybody. Like everybody's gone through that once or twice.
Oh shit, dude. Did you hear about the like fucking XFL team that Antonio Brown bought?
The arena football team.
The arena, yeah, my
Yeah,
bad. Where he
that's an
like
honorable mention is buying an arena football team to then not pay any of the players throughout the entire summer that it's playing.
and firing the head coach that
Yeah.
like just won the Super Bowl of that league.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a train wreck.
All right, Luke, what's your worst or your third worst summer activity?
I'm gonna wrap it up with another one that's oddly specific, but when your group of friends invites girls over to play volleyball with you, like at the beach, and the girls contribute absolutely nothing to the game, and when the ball comes to them, it's just always hitting the ground. It's serve over here, serve over. There's no volley. Where's the volley part of the volleyball?
Sucks.
It just really sucks. I mean, you're only doing it to get the Snapchat, but I mean, still, like, the game. Come on.
Come on, Luke, we've graduated from getting Snapchats. You got to get phone numbers now.
That is true. I have become more of a phone number guy, but Snapchats are always easy still, though.
It is. It is. But let's go through some honorable mentions that we might have. So, one of my honorable mentions for the top 3 is getting a sunburn, but like it's not that bad.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Like
good
that's
one.
like a nice cuz like you had a good day.
Yeah, and you're not like, suffering
Yeah,
afterwards.
like it might hurt to you know, like take your shorts off and put on like some like fresh underwear. It might hurt a little bit. It might hurt a little bit when that hot water in the shower hits it for a second, but
Yep.
like it just reminds you like, damn, yesterday was so much fun.
Yes, I agree.
Any honorable mentions you've got?
One for the bottom 3, and this kind of, bouncing off of what you just said, the feeling of aloe.
Really?
It is very like it can be refreshing, but sometimes, and especially on some parts of the body, it's just way too cold.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Way
Yeah.
too
Okay,
cold.
look, I'm a guy if I get a sunburn on my chest, I'm out of order for a few days. Like I
Yeah.
straight up can't move. It's that bad. So
Yeah.
I've definitely been there before.
Went to the 10-day IL there.
Yeah, honestly. Like I had to miss a friend of mine's grad party my senior year of high school because I went out on the lake with Colin actually, and got such a bad sunburn on my chest that like I couldn't move my arms or it would hurt my chest, and like I was just sitting in my bed all day. Good remedy for it though. Take like boil like make tea and soak a rag with tea, like green tea, and place it on the
Wow.
sunburn.
You and your family remedies, man.
Yeah. All right.
Uh,
Anything else?
no, I don't really think I'm good here.
I
This
think
was fun.
this was very fun. I'm excited to continue doing this segment.
Yes. So in some segments, it will be sports related, or are we always
Yeah,
going to do something
yeah.
random?
Sometimes we'll do sports. I think it'll be fun when it comes down. Like maybe at some point we'll do like an MLB power rankings style with this, and maybe we'll bring Colin on for it. We'll do some interesting stuff with this segment. I don't think it needs to like it can always be like the break from sports.
Yeah, I think Colin would be hilarious with
Yes,
this. So
I
yeah, that'd be
agree.
fun.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. We actually kept it under 2 hours and we got through tons of stuff.
Yep, we did. If there's anything else I'd have to say, it'd be, good luck on the rest of y'all's finals, guys. I hope they're
Yes.
going well. Make sure, you're checking in with your mental health as well as studying. So that's kind of what I've been having to do. It's been brutal for me, so I know it's been brutal for other people. So good luck to y'all,
Yeah.
and enjoy the summer, man. We're almost there.
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody that's been listening. The numbers look really good right now. And we couldn't be happier going into the summer because it's a grind, that's for sure. But look out for some content coming exclusively to our social media platforms. Look out for that over the next couple of weeks. We'll get that started and it's going to be fun. So make sure you're following us on all the socials. It is Second Short Pod on Twitter and Instagram, Second and Short Pod on TikTok. Make sure you're checking out there because we're going to be trying to pump out some content for y'all outside of the podcast.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun to do. And, we just can't wait to give y'all more stuff to look at that is second and short. So it's exciting.
All right. And yeah, thank you to everybody. Shout out to all of the international listeners. We get tons of downloads from Amsterdam, Germany, where else? Brussels, Belgium. So shout out to you guys. I don't even know if
Yeah.
you guys know what we're talking about half the time, but I appreciate it. It's going to do it for us. Peace.
Peace.